Hello, I'm Bob Lancer, and the purpose of this show is to lead you into the life you truly want to be living. It is also about helping you to better understand and relate with others, especially the children in your life, in support of their great potential. So this show is for anyone who wants to live with more peace and purpose and positive power to soar into the fulfillment of our greatest promise. We are all in relationship with one another. Our relationship work needs to be all-inclusive because no relationship really exists in a vacuum. How you relate with everyone is a dimension of how you relate with anyone, including yourself. For instance, if you have children, your children are impacted by the quality of your relationship with your mate. Your children bring that impact to school with them, where it seeps its way into their relationships with their classmates. This in turn impacts the teachers and administrators. It also ends up coming home with your children's classmates, teachers and administrators, and from there it seeps into the community at large, wending its way around the world. We are all in relationships with one another, and through our relationships, we impact one another directly and indirectly on many levels, including emotionally. The degree of unhappiness or dissatisfaction that you experience in, say, your marriage influences the way everyone feels, as does how you deal with your dissatisfaction. Whatever degree of grief you hold inside is not yours alone. It is part of the shared grief of humankind. All grief can be traced to one central universal cause, our perceived separation from all that we desire. Just as children cry when they cannot have their way, all the ways that we cannot seem to have our way fill our hearts with sorrow. Collectively, that becomes sorrow over the general human condition of perceived separation. That perceived separation is actually based on illusion. It is a product of our unconsciousness of our actual, ever-present unity with all that we desire. As you face your grief, however slight or all-consuming it may be, you do your part to free and clear every heart and advance the universal dissolution of separation's illusion and the awakening to our ever-present inclusion with the infinite. Any relationship event that triggers your unhappiness or grief gives you an opportunity to work your way through and out of the illusion of separation into the glorious state of fulfillment that you ultimately seek. As you go through your emotional pain, you transmute your awareness into a state more pure, permitting you to more directly connect with the unbounded joy of the infinite. To work through your own grief over disappointing relationship conditions is to accept your responsibility for lightening the whole world's degree of grief and supporting the universal awakening to ultimate fulfillment. When strife or loss sours your relationship experience, face your grief, stay with it, complete your contribution to the universal trail of tears. As you fathom your full heartache by seeking the truth underlying its cause, you gain and share your freedom, and that much more true fulfillment will be yours. To feel your own grief is to heal the world's grief. Don't seek refuge from your grief over relationship dissatisfaction by leaving one relationship for another. Grieving is your responsibility. It will follow you until you face it, and until every sad heart drains of its tears. To open to your heart's anguish is to receive the emotional suffering of the whole world in a portion commensurate with your power to take it. Sorrow over loss of any kind, of the most inconsolable kind even, is nothing to fear. There is no better place to be than where you face the most pain. Here are 7 relationship truths wrapped in riddles that we will unravel as we proceed. Number 1, your mate or lack thereof is not responsible for your unhappiness. Number 2, leaving a relationship to avoid facing your dissatisfaction and disappointment is the epitome of selfishness. Number 3, making leaving a relationship your goal leads you nowhere. Number 4, you never have to wonder if you should stay or go. Number 5, the truth about happiness is that it is included in sorrow and loss. It comes with the fulfillment of purpose. Number 6, a good relationship is one that exists. Number 7, a bad relationship is impossible. Your mate or lack of one is not responsible for your unhappiness. Don't hold on to grief, nor onto the anger that may trigger it. Let it come and go as it will. Then your radiant smiles of gladness will lift all hearts, and you will draw to you whatever form of relationship you need to satisfy your heart's desire. And don't hold on to gladness as well. Pain is like gravity. It keeps you down to earth. It gives you a mirth it's worth. Grieving signals the leaving of your blockage to fulfillment. The more grief you can accept, the less loss you can expect. A common mistake that we make when we feel frustrated in a relationship is to fixate on the negative goal or negative desire to just get out. Making getting out your goal is really a non-goal because it leads you nowhere. Instead, shift your focus of attention onto your deepest desire regarding where you really want to go from here, from this place of painful emptiness. One would expect that one would desire to be in a glorious, loving relationship in which the problems of the current relationship are non-existent. But an honest look deep inside reveals that this is never the reality. What you really want when you feel very disappointed or dissatisfied, as illogical as this may seem, is to go all the way through your pain, to get to the bottom of it, to really understand what is going on inside of you. The emotional suffering that we want to run from is really what we need to go through. By going through the pain consciously, without resisting it, looking for its real cause within, you discover that this inner journey is a spiritual experience of liberation and enlightenment that is intrinsically fulfilling. Those who flee from the inner void find at best only superficial distraction from increasing flatness, blandness, and artificiality. Unmasking our pain is one of life's great adventures, as it reveals the deepest sense of the purpose of our lives. Our need to delve into our grief does not mean that one should never end a painful relationship. It simply means that the only real time to end a relationship is when you have graduated from the lessons of its problems. The problems in a relationship, or the problems of being without a relationship, prod you into discovering the real source of your deep discontent. This is always a matter of unconsciousness, of not knowing yourself or accepting yourself completely. You never have to wonder if you should go or stay. Connect with your feelings honestly in the present moment. Just observe them. Experiencing them consciously and fully will reveal your way. Your state radiates. An unhappy person cannot help but radiate his unhappiness into his surroundings, impacting everyone with whom he has contact. To some extent, these individuals impacted by the unhappy person then carry the emotional residue of that unhappy contact into their subsequent interactions with others. And in this way, unhappiness spreads around the world. The inner pain we each individually feel is just our share of the global cloud of pain the entire world lives in. Every individual who is in any degree of grief anywhere in the world emits grief's emotional reverberations into the planet's engulfing psychic atmosphere. This really makes sense when you think of it this way. How can you be truly, totally happy as long as you know that there is even one innocent child anywhere in the world who is crying because he feels abandoned? How can you feel truly and totally delighted when any child's mother is going through the grief of not being able to feed, nurture, or protect her little child? Now imagine all of the shock, terror, and loss going on in the world. And not just of the humankind. Think of the animals that are suffering from all the ways that civilization treats them callously. Think of the fact that species of plant life disappear daily due to deforestation. Plants that may be more beautiful than any we've ever seen, or that hold the key to curing illnesses present or yet to come. Think of the greed responsible for major corporations cutting corners on safety for short-term profits and the political lying that protects them. Think of all that is going wrong with the world, the injustice and the inhumanity. Until all of this is made right, no human being with a caring heart can experience complete, unending delight. Only as we face the pain in our hearts can we be guided to at least do our parts and to continue doing our part, to spread love and light and the liberation of goodness in our homes, our communities, our nation, and our world. As you do the inner work needed to dissolve the levels of emotional suffering within you, you transmute inner darkness into inner light and radiate your liberation into your surroundings, into your relationships, into the world. As you make the journey through grief and reach its center, you forge your connection with the realm of all possibility, and in so doing, support everyone else's development of that link with the source of true fulfillment. The human being can take on only so much travail at a time. But even though your grief may feel overwhelming, the pain you feel is always within your capacity to process. As you work through your pain by going into it, accepting it, embracing it, allowing it in search of its real cause, it soon dissipates, leaving you feeling freer, better, more alive, and more in love with life than you have ever been. Accept your joy, your delight, your love, your sense of fulfillment and gratitude as it comes. Relish it, appreciate it, explore it, have fun with it. But don't expect to hold on to it, because you cannot. Bright periods of joy, like dark waves of sorrow, must pass. Joy and sorrow, contentment and discontentment, pleasure and pain come and go, whether you are in or out of a relationship. As you go consciously through grief and joy, you will experience a growing sense of fulfillment during both phases. You will discover that the conscious exploration of unhappiness is just as satisfying as happiness, that it is, in fact, another form of happiness, just as hard times are just another form of good times. If you are looking for a relationship with another human being that will save you from having to go through your loneliest periods of deep dissatisfaction, you are looking for something that does not exist. If you're attempting to escape a relationship that you judge as bad because it is painful, you are attempting to escape a relationship that does not really exist. Every relationship that exists is good, in the sense that everything that happens in life is designed for your good. Nothing can occur that deprives you of your perfect opportunity to grow into your next, more complete level of awakening in true love, joy, and fulfillment. A so-called bad relationship is just impossible. When you feel deeply dissatisfied with your relationship, or with your experience of not being in a relationship, don't seek another person as your solution. Take some time to just feel how you feel, and to feel just how deeply you feel, seeking the truth about what is really going on in you. When you feel deep sorrow, what you really want is to go all the way through the sorrow, because a part of you knows that you can only connect with your ultimate desire in the ultimate depths of your dissatisfaction. That part of you also knows that your real desire is for fulfillment. And to connect with your desire freely and openly is to connect with its fulfillment. You have to know what you feel utterly empty of in order to commence attracting more of it into your conscious experience. To reject your pain is to prevent yourself from connecting with the underlying desire that it expresses, and to that desire's fulfillment. Going into your feeling of loss will take you through it, into the place within you where the fulfillment of your true heart's desire exists. Opening to the pain of your inner emptiness opens you to the realization of your delight. Your relationship problems will, to a large extent, seem to dissolve into their solutions all on their own as you go through this inner journey. At the same time, you will be doing your part to lessen the burden of the whole world's aching heart. This will cause you to feel worthy and deserving of the fulfillment you desire, which permits it to manifest. This is a deep inner process, and one that is not for the faint of heart. That is why so many people live out their lives in dissatisfying, contentious relationships, or bitterly without one. Judging their inner pain as wrong, refusing to trust in its possible rightness and goodness and justness, is how human beings hold on to their pain, rather than allowing it to turn into fruitful gain. Refusing to acknowledge the possible goodness and gift of your deep dissatisfaction prevents you from seeing the good and the gift of it, which short-circuits your connection to greater fulfillment than you have ever known. The more of your unhappiness that you can accept and explore, the more happiness, fulfillment, love, beauty, joy, and delight you can discover within it. In the pit of emptiness, you can clearly discern exactly what it is that you are feeling so bereft of, and in that instant, engage your power to manifest it. Sometimes this connection takes the form of prayer. As the saying goes, any loss that drives you to your knees in prayer can't be all bad. What this means is that when you feel so lost and desperate that there is really nowhere else to turn, no one else to turn to, no strategy left to try, praying from the bottom of your heart for what you truly ultimately want demonstrates the solemn efficacy of prayer. It is then that our ultimate sense of emptiness, which we can only tap into through submerging consciousness into the depths of our grief, turns into a kind of vacuum that has the power necessary to draw to us what we want. It may very well be that the ultimate purpose of our difficulties is to bring us to the point when we finally turn to this inner source, the infinite, the divine, as our last resort, our last ultimate refuge. For that turns out to be the relationship of our ultimate fulfillment. We only prolong our pain and stray further from our fulfillment by seeking a relationship with another person as an escape from our present relationship dissatisfaction. Resisting the urge to seek this escape route sends you into deeper levels of conscious fulfillment. We are typically too quick to jump to the conclusion when we are suffering that all we really want is to stop suffering. This is what we want ultimately, but we want it to happen for real, not in some fake or superficial way. There's a part of us that recognizes that the suffering connects us with the core of who we truly are. Take a look at your heartache and at your heartbreak, and you will see that there is beauty underlying your torment. In the ache of deepest loss, there is the deepest love. Love is what we're designed for, and love, at the deepest levels, is our deepest fulfillment. Whatever another person does that disturbs you gives you an opportunity to get to the root of what you ultimately want, which is what you ultimately want. Having the patience to go into your pain until you see its actual underlying cause will release you basically in one of three ways. Number one, you may realize that you really do not have to react with that much pain anymore. Number two, you may discover that what you really ultimately desire is now available with your present partner. Number three, you may realize with authentic finality that as long as you remain in your relationship with this person, you are blocking yourself from receiving the fulfillment that you long for. Now, it's extremely tempting to jump to the conclusion of the third possibility, that the person you are with is your problem, and that leaving this person is your solution. But to truly know if this really is the case, you need to be brutally honest with yourself. For one thing, you need to ask yourself, have I found true peace in this relationship? Because as long as you are in emotional chaos and pain, you cannot clearly see or know what it is that you really want. Then, what you really want is to get to the bottom of your pain. The deeper your desire, the deeper and more complete the fulfillment that it points to. But to get in touch with your deepest desire is to get in touch with your deepest feeling of emptiness, lack, or loss, all the way through grief. It is conceivable that part of our purpose on this earth is to help the world out of its pain, and that the problems we go through are just the triggers we need to get us in touch with pain. It may be that as we fulfill this purpose of relieving the world of its grief, we experience the ultimate sense of worthiness for all the happiness that we seek, and then is when we'll accept it. Whatever you ultimately desire for yourself, you really desire for the whole world. You want the whole world to live in the love and fulfillment of ultimate desire. You want this because on some intrinsic level you recognize that the world's joy will lift up your own joy, just as the world's sorrow brings you down. When you pursue a path of selfish pleasure, you actually close yourself off, not just to the world's pain, but to the deepest depths of yourself, which effectively blocks your real fulfillment. When another's sorrow becomes too heavy for you to bear, you need to take a break. Avoid talking or thinking too much about that person's troubles. You may have to even spend less time with that person. This is not necessarily selfish. There's only so much grief that you can handle at a time, and you need to trust your own feelings to accurately inform you of when you have reached your limit. In all of your relationships, trust and honor your feelings. If you are not presently in a close relationship, you are still in a relationship with yourself. Be as good to yourself as you can be for all your heart desires. And that's all the time we have for today's broadcast of Bob Lancer's Answers. To order a recording of today's show or of previous shows, and for more information about my work, check out my website at boblancer.com. That's BOBLANCER.com. You can email me at bob@boblancer.com or give me a call at 404-297-4043. 404-297-4043 for your own personal breakthrough on issues relating to parenting, marriage, and life guidance. Would you like to receive my direct assistance in implementing the insights and approaches you hear on this show? Call, email me, or go to boblancer.com to schedule a private professional consultation with me. You can also attend my monthly seminars on raising our children and ourselves to uplift and empower your group, association, business, school, or organization at your location anywhere in the world. Schedule me to present my enlightening and inspiring seminars or keynotes. Go to boblancer.com for more information. And go to boblancer.com for an abundance of my free Lancer's Answers in the form of articles and videos that you can view right there online, as well as a comprehensive list of my CD recordings available for purchase. And be sure to look for my life-changing books available at your favorite bookstore and at boblancer.com, including Parenting with Love Without Anger or Stress, Lighten Up, and The Soulmate Process. And I would truly love to hear from you to let me know how you like this show. Until next time, this is Bob Lancer asking you to please tell your friends to tune in next week at this same time, same station, over the radio and online for more of Bob Lancer's answers to the challenges of raising our children and ourselves.